Picture this. A young boy born in Bedouin tent, surrounded by nothing but sound and sky. Fast forward to a few decades, that same boy is now rubbing shoulders with world leaders and making headlines across the globe. Sounds like a movie plot, right? Buckle up, because this is the real story of Colonel Muammar Gaddafi. Trust me, it is more interesting than any Hollywood movie you've seen recently. The story begins in 1945 in the middle of the Libyan desert. Little Muammar Gaddafi had no idea that he would become one of the most colorful, or should I say, controversial dictator in modern time. I mean, who would have thought that this little boy would grow up to kick out military bases like evicting noisy neighbors, rewrite the rule of oil revenue sharing and make big oil company to squirm, ban alcohol and flip the calendar to Islam. But here's where it gets interesting. Gaddafi wasn't just content ruling Libya. He had to go and write his book, the famous, or should I say infamous, Green Book. Just imagine that your college philosophy paper somehow became the governing principle of an entire nation. Yeah, that was exactly what happened in Libya. Now you might be thinking, okay, Gaddafi was a bit unorthodox or unconventional, but was life in Libya that bad? Okay, hold on to your heart, because this is where things get complicated. On one hand, Gaddafi was like a harsh but generous uncle. He tried as much as possible to make the quality of life for his people as high as possible. Free electricity for Libyans? Check. Interest-free loan for everybody living in the country? You got it. Free education and healthcare? Absolutely. He tried to ensure that everybody in Libya had a home, but that last one didn't quite go as planned. But on the other hand, let's just say he wasn't exactly hosting democratic tea parties. Dissent was a no-no in the country, and this idea of conflict resolution was sending troops to neighboring country. Oops. For 42 years, Gaddafi ran Libya like his personal property. But then, everything changed in 2011. The Arab Spring that started in Tunisia swept through the region like a sandstorm, and suddenly Libyans decided that they've had enough of Uncle Gaddafi's rule. What happened next was a series of endless protests, unending battles, and Uncle Gaddafi making strange appearances on TV. As Libya descended into chaos, the world watched in fascination. Would Gaddafi manage to cling to power, or would he go down in flames? The answer to this question, my dear viewer, is so shocking, so unexpected that you have to like this video and subscribe to my channel before I continue. Let's just say it involves NATO airstrike, a mysterious disappearance, and an ending that no one saw coming. It was 2011 and Libya was in chaos. Our man, Uncle Gaddafi, the once unchallenged ruler of the oil-rich nation, was now playing a deadly game of hide and seek with rebel forces. But this wasn't your average playground game. The stakes here were life and death. Remember those strange and bizarre TV appearances we mentioned earlier? Well, they were getting weirder by the day, and Gaddafi's rant was becoming legend by the day and countless internet memes. One day he was threatening to cleanse Libya house by house, and the next he was blaming the uprising on hallucinogenic pills slipped into people's cafe. I kid you not. Meanwhile, the rebel forces were gaining ground faster than a camel in a sandstorm. Cities were falling like dominoes, and Gaddafi's loyal supporters were becoming as rare as rain in the Sahara Desert. But here is something that really broke my heart. Gaddafi's friends in the international community who once wined and dined with him were now turning his back on him. It was like watching the popular kid in school suddenly become a social outcast. NATO started dropping bombs instead of diplomatic cables, and Gaddafi's compound became a Swiss cheese. Now you might be wondering, where is Gaddafi in all this chaos? Great question. The man who once paraded himself in outfits that would make Lady Gaga jealous was now on the run. There were more rumors about his whereabouts than there were grains of sand in Libya. Is he hiding in a bunker? Has he fled the country? Has he disguised as a camel roaming the Sahara Desert? The theories were wild, and anticipation was killing everyone. Then, on October 20th, 2011, the news broke. Colonel Muammar Gaddafi had been found. But wait, it gets better or worse depending on your perspective. He was not discovered in a high-tech building or luxury villa. No, the mighty Colonel Muammar Gaddafi was found cowered in a drainage pipe. How had the mighty fallen? What happened next is still debated till date. Some claim he was killed in a firefight, others claim he was executed on the spot. Whatever the truth, one thing is for sure, Gaddafi's era had bloody come to an end. As news of his death spread, Libyans poured into the street. The celebrations were louder than 1,000 vuvuzelas at a World Cup final. After 42 years, the self-acclaimed president of presidents was dead. But what happened to Libya after that? Did it become the democratic paradise many hoped, or it descended into something else entirely? Well, my friends, that rabbit hole is deeper than you think. We are talking about militia groups, interim government, and enough political drama to fill 1,000 soap operas. Oh my God, how do I best describe this? Just imagine you've just won a lottery. You are so excited, yet you have no idea how to manage your newfound wealth. That is kind of what happened to Libya after Gaddafi's dramatic exit. So there is Libya, finally free of its eccentric dictator with vast oil reserve and high hopes of democracy. It's like a political Cinderella story. The oppressed nation finally got its freedom. Unfortunately, as we're about to find out, the political fairy tale doesn't have a happily ever after. Let's start with the good news. Libya finally held its first free election in 2012. People were more excited than kids in the candy store. The voter turnout was higher than the camel hump, and for a moment, it seemed Libya was on the track of becoming the Switzerland of North Africa. But here's where things get messy. Do you remember those rebels who fought against Gaddafi? Well, they didn't just go home and hang their guns. Not at all. Many of them decided that they enjoy having power, so they formed their own militia groups. Suddenly, Libya had more militia groups than a Game of Thrones season finale. The new government, let's give them a credit, they tried to put things together. But they had about more control as a substitute teacher in a class full of sugar-high kids. The Different regions started with their own thing, and before you could say democracy, Libya was more fragmented than a smashed mosaic. Crude oil, which was once a blessing to the country, became a curse. Everyone wanted a piece of the crude oil pie, leading to more squabbles than family deciding on where to go for dinner. Crude oil production plummeted in the country faster than Gaddafi's final day in power. And let's not forget the international community. After helping to host Gaddafi, they kind of stood back and said, okay, you got this right. Spoiler alert, they didn't have this. By 2014, things got so chaotic in Libya that the government ended up having two rival governments. Yes, you heard that right, two governments. It was like having two captains steering the same ship in opposite directions. Unsurprisingly, this led to as much progress as a camel trying to ice skate. Fast forward to today, Libya is still trying to find its footing. It's like watching a newborn giraffe trying to walk. Lots of wobbling, occasional fall, but somehow still moving forward. So what is the take from all of this? Well, it turns out that toppling the dictator was the easy part. But building a functional democracy, that is trickier than trying to eat spaghetti with chopsticks in a sandstorm. Here's my final question though. Is Libya better off now than it was under Gaddafi? Is growing the pain of democracy worth it? Or do some Libyans find themselves nostalgic of the good old days of dictatorship? Well, just let me know what you think in the comment below. Thank you.